Hey dreamers, Bryce here from Midnight Notion, singer, songwriter, musician, and a big fan of Metallica. I spent so many days, months, grading every single song in their catalog so far, and today we're gonna break the final tie for first place. Who's gonna win? Strap in, let's find out. Cue the intro.
So Ted, give it to me now!
For the best Metallica song! One versus Halo on Fire. I don't know what I'm gonna do here because no matter which one I choose, a bunch of people are gonna be upset, myself included. I honestly cannot choose between these songs. It's very, very difficult. I actually don't know the answer as of right now. I won't find out until later in the video. So little hint there that it's a close match. We're gonna be grading both of these songs based off of the following criteria: structure, flow, melody, engagement, and lyrics. Each round is gonna have a winner, so you tell me below in the comments who you think wins each round and which song you think wins the overall prize for first place. The other one is just gonna get a big old second place. So without further ado, let's do this thing. Oh wait, there is a further ado. Hit that subscribe button. Why? Because we're gonna keep celebrating with a big old awards ceremony. I don't know when. I admittedly won't be able to do it tomorrow, but it will be coming soon. So stay tuned. Now, without further ado, let's do this thing. Here we go. Whoosh. Round one, structure. Let's take a look at one, except we got some sound effects in the intro, and then we skip right to the guitar. So we get the guitar, and this goes on for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I'm choosing to include the solo and the lick that sounds like the verse riff all as part of this intro. There's a lot of stuff going on, but there's several sections to it, but it's all one big intro. Before we get the main riff, and I'm calling this the main riff because this is gonna bridge us between each chorus and verse section. Then we've got the verse, which again is the final part of the intro again, but it's structured just slightly differently. We've got this nice 3/4 feel throughout the song. We opened the song in 4/4, but now we got 3/4 from the main riff and on, and we've got these little extra hits at the end of certain parts of the verse, so really interesting there. We've got the chorus, which you could call in 6/4, because it has that sort of a straight groove, but it's a very short chorus before we go right back into the 3/4 main riff. I want to talk a little bit about this riff because there's so much going on in here that you can't really actually play it on just one instrument. If you only play one part, it sounds empty. So I think that this is a really cool, beautiful riff. We've got another verse. We've got another chorus, big, heavy chorus, and then we go back to the main riff again. But this one adds in a little guitar solo over the top. So we stretch it out. Instead of 2 times through, we play it 4 times through. And the guitar solo is only for 3. And then we go back into a chorus, which is double length. We add the words, "I'm just one," right? The name of the song comes in. Then we've got what I'm gonna call the bridge section, because ultimately this riff just gets us from this part of the song to the next part of the song. So consider it a bridge. This section never comes back, it's never been used before, but it's also very cool. If you only play one guitar part, it sounds empty, so both the guitars are working really well together on this. Then we've got what I'm gonna call the breakdown. The machine guns come in, and this breakdown is a jammer. Then we've got the bridge verse, and it's all that I see, all that I hear. We've got the new riff, all right? I'm calling this the new riff because I didn't have any other names to use, but this is kind of building us towards the big solo. This new riff is the machine gun. It is different from the breakdown riff. Breakdown was divided into 2. This one is divided into 3. That's why it's a different riff. Then we've got the infamous guitar solo. Everybody loves it. Lots of tapping, lots of fast playing. Really incredible. We've got the new riff again to break down between the solo and the dueling solo. A second solo here, and this solo is really radical, and then we're back to the new riff, and then I'm just gonna call this the outro because it's got a few extra hits. It reminds us of the beginning of the solo, but there's no lead on top of it, and then the song is done with a couple of machine gun hits. Really cool song. The thing about 1 is that the structure starts in 4/4. It goes to 3/4. It got 6/4. It's got some odd changes in the verses, and then we've got a conversion in the breakdown here to 4/4 again, and it keeps that common time for the rest of the song. But it goes from clean to distortion to clean to distortion to clean to distortion to the biggest amount of distortion you have ever heard, and the song just ends with just an amazing ending. Let's compare that to Halo on Fire, which is surprisingly similar. We've got intro, which is really just the chorus. Instead of the drums playing straight, they're playing hits to emphasize the parts, but it's really just the notes that you hear in the chorus. Then we've got the verse, and I'm gonna mark this clean riff before the verse as part of the verse. So it's kind of the intro to the verse. We don't quite get to the lyrics yet, but the playing stays very similar. Then the chorus comes in really big, but we've heard this before. But now there's lyrics on top, so we can sing along, and James is going really high. We're back down to a nice little groove. The lead guitar is playing on top of it, but it's still leading us into the second verse, which brings us right into the second chorus, wasting no time with this song. Verse, chorus, very little bridging sections. But then, of course, we get to what I'm going to call the bridge. This one is in mixed meter. We have a 6/4 feel and then a 4/4 feel times 2. So 6/4 and an 8/4 if you want to. Do you want to call this 14/4? Whatever you want to call it. It's a really interesting mixed meter. That brings us into the bridge verse, and that builds down to, I'm going to call this a breakdown because it's got a little bit of a different feel. It's giving us a new syncopation. We've actually climbed downward in the song. And then we've got one more little bridge verse, right? A different bridge verse from before, but a unique new verse that we only get here. Brings us to a new breakdown. There's a different section than before, but it's very interesting. And then we've got this nice dueling guitar solo, just like in 1, dueling guitar solo, but we've inverted it because that leads into the solo that's just the one guitar. Then we've got a brand new riff. I don't know what else to call this, but this is just a nice clean riff to build suspense, build tension. What's going on? And then we've got the hook. Everybody knows and loves this hook. I cried when I reviewed this hook. It is something very beautiful, and it just stands out as one of the best things in their catalog. Then we've got a solo, all right? I'm not counting the lyrics in this section as a verse because it's really only a couple of lines, but we got this nice solo, and then that leads us back into the hook again with hits instead of full jamming. But the hits are really cool, and then we end it with the last part of the intro. It's basically the part with the drum fill, the snare drum fill, but without the snare drum fill. And also a little bit slower. Both songs have tempo changes, right? Both songs have clean parts during the verse and heavy choruses. They both have a bridge verse that kind of gets us going into a solo. They both have a dueling solo. They both have really catchy hooks. And it's really hard to decide the difference. And neither of them follow verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Well, I guess one kind of does, but it's got such an interesting outro that it kind of does it. And I guess Halo on Fire is verse, chorus, bridge, but it never comes back to the chorus either. So both of them have similar long outros. They're almost, I don't want to say they're almost the same song, but they truly do deserve to be in this battle against each other. So how does one choose between two songs with very similar structures? Both of them have time signature changes, both of them have tempo changes, and both of them go from clean to distortion and back to clean and back to distortion. Both of them end with a giant anthem that just gets your head going. It's really hard to choose. From a structure level, it is very difficult. So I have to go with my gut, and my gut tells me I like time signature changes, and there are more of those in 1. Winner of this round, 1. Round 2, flow. Both of these songs have a very similar flow, although Halo on Fire starts a lot bigger. It comes way down, and it comes up, and it comes down, and it comes up, and it comes down, but then it goes all the way to 0 with that nice little new riff before the hook. whoa. It's a really, really great payoff. One chooses to start small, and actually all of the sound effects in the beginning kind of set the tone for the song. They really get us thinking about war, and we're kind of already regretting the decision to be here, right? So already we have a sort of a somber tone from the beginning, and it builds us and it teases and it comes back down, and it teases and it comes back down, and then it builds some more, and then it just skyrockets for the last half of the song. Both songs have an excellent ending. As a matter of fact, I feel like the ending of both songs is better than either song entirely. Does that make sense? If you just did the ending, it would still probably be in this top 20 at number 1 for both songs. So really, really hard to choose flow. In my opinion, I think that the winner has to go to the song that navigates those sections a lot smoother. And some of that has to do with the fact that one of these songs has a lot more repetition, and one of these songs introduces new things more often. And so while Halo on Fire gets to the point right away and gets us singing right from the beginning, I do enjoy a nice classical music style build. So in my opinion, for flow, it goes to 1. Round 3, melody. So I have to remember that melody is separate from engagement. So remember, we're separating those things. But which song has the better melody? Now, we've already talked about how all of their older songs have kind of a weak spot as far as singing goes. James's voice wasn't where it needed to be. In the Justice era, he hadn't yet trained himself to really, really sing. So if you compare one's live versions, then we've got a really nice fight. But when you're listening to the record version, which is what we're doing in this review section, he doesn't have much to speak of in his voice and his vocal performance. However, one is really, really masterful in its melody in that we have multiple guitar parts throughout the song, the main riff and the bridging section, where both guitars are playing something completely different, but somehow it merges together almost seamlessly. And then with the bass underneath it, which you can barely hear, but it is there, it's adding texture and layers that it's just... I don't know how to do that. When I write a song or a piece, I write a rhythm guitar and a lead guitar over it, but I've never done 2 lead guitars that are playing separate, completely separate things before. It's so strange to me. It's not a dueling harmonized solo. It's 2 completely different movements in the same key that end up in the same spot, and that's miraculous. Melodically, that's really, really cool. But as far as something that gets in my head and makes me sing it over and over and over again, there is no better melody than that final hook of Halo on Fire. And even the choruses, even the verses, the singing is what really wins this one over. So it was a really tough pick, but in this round, it goes to Halo on Fire. Round 4, engagement. I have seen Metallica probably 7 or 8 times live, and I have seen all of their DVDs. I own most of them, and I can tell you that one has been on every single one of them since 1989. So I've seen the live version of one enough times to have it memorized, right? I have only seen Halo on Fire live a couple of times. I've seen them maybe twice in person and then a handful of videos. So I can only really gauge Halo. Halo's new, so it's got that weak spot where you can't really compare it. However, I will say that one, unless you know the lyrics, there aren't really any opportunities to sing along. They don't repeat any lines except for, "Oh God, help me," but sometimes it's "God, wake me," and it's not always in the third chorus is different. So when you anticipate it, it doesn't actually come back the way you anticipated. And so you're actually losing the audience engagement. And they almost never have a hey, hey, hey section at any point during that song. And I don't recall in my 7 times seeing them live and in any of the DVDs that I've seen, I don't recall the audience singing any of the guitar parts. So unfortunately, there's almost no engagement for one. This is a sit back, watch it, listen, and pay attention with your full body, but there's nothing for you to do. As far as engagement goes, Halo on Fire has lyrics in the verses that you can call and response along with. They have a very catchy chorus, and they have that finale, which is one of the best, most singable guitar riffs of all time. Engagement, hands down, with a landslide victory, goes to Halo on Fire. Round 5, lyrics. Let's take a look at 1 first, because it came out first. We have a rhyme scheme of A-A-B. Okay, that's very interesting. Anything, dream. This is a slant rhyme. Anything, dream. It's not really there, so I guess you could call it A, B, 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 C if you want to. But look at that. They used the magic word dream. It's in there. Somewhere in Dreamworld is available wherever you get your music online. This song is illustrating someone who has had all of their limbs blown off, right? They're taking their arms, taking their legs. They can't hear and they can't speak, so they literally cannot communicate. They're just a body on the operating table, and there's nothing that they can do about it. They can't communicate how terrible they feel, and they can't communicate what they want done to them. They're just laying there as a mind. Look at this metaphor. Back in the womb, it's much too real. In pumps life that I must feel. But can't look forward to reveal. Look to the time when I'll live. So what this is saying is that an infant inside the mother's womb is actually being is being given their life through the umbilical cord, right? They're eating, they're fed through a tube, and that's the umbilical cord. But then eventually the world opens up, they get to crawl out and experience life, the brightness of life. But this person is in the womb because it's a medical tube, right? It's an IV, it's a blood pump, it's a life support that is pumping life into him. So it feels like a womb, but he can't look forward to the reveal of when he'll live. He doesn't get to experience life ever again. He's just stuck here, tied to machines, and wishing to cut the machines off of him to end life support because it's so traumatic. But he can't even do that. All he can do is pray. Oh, please, God, wake me, right? This is just a terrible nightmare. Please get me out of this. Maybe if I hold my breath, I'll be able to die. What a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. I think the only thing I can pick apart on this song is the use of the word me. Look at how many times they use me as a rhyming word. Me, me, me. Where else? Me, me, be, me, me, me. It's at the end of every chorus. It's at the end of every verse, or not almost every verse, but multiple lines. The thing that I struggle with is that it's not bad to reuse the same word multiple times, and it's not wrong to re-emphasize your point multiple times throughout the song, but there's something about the order in which it comes that feels sort of elementary in my opinion. I mean, just look at the last 2 lines here, all right? There is no reason why me needs to be at the end of this sentence. Because we already had the war is through with me and I'm waking up I cannot see. I think that this is probably the more important line. So I might go, now that the war is history, right? That's a different word. Now that the war is history, I'm waking up I cannot see. That there's not much left of me. Nothing is real but pain now. All right. So that, in my opinion, I'm not saying that's the better lyric. I'm just saying when I'm songwriting, I prefer to try to toy with the rhyming words until only the important ones are left. Because if you're going to say not much left of me, I would rather it be not much left of me in that whole entire phrase multiple times than just having a random, completely different sentence that ends with the same word. That's I guess the opposite of an aphora, but not in a good way. And I think that's what's really bumming me about the lyrics of this song. But I guess that my favorite part is probably the ending here with the darkness imprisoning me, again with the me. And then we have the landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul. This is all anaphora. Taken, 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 taken. And then we have left me with life and hell. And that is your final line. And then we just get machine guns for the rest of the song. Really well written. Could use a little bit of stitching together if we were to improve it. But overall, still a really good song. Let's take a look at Halo on Fire. This is a really tall set of lyrics, right? It's a tall drink of water here, a tall drink of fire water, perhaps. This song really focuses on audience participation by repeating the same word twice at each section of the verse. So the verse is really in 4 sections, and each section is 3 parts long. And of those 3 parts, you have one word, the repetition of that word, and then a little bit more context, or just another longer line that has the same rhyme scheme. So obey, obey, stay. Sincere, sincere, tears. Endure, endure, impure. Concede, concede, bleed. That structure follows all the way through. Now, does it make a whole lot of sense? Obey, come won't you stay. I mean, I guess you're obeying your master, maybe. Come won't you stay, and stay with your master. You're gonna be sincere, but it all ends in tears. So you mean well, but it's not gonna turn out so well at the end. Endure. These thoughts are really impure, right? The thought's most impure, but you're gonna get through. You're gonna make it through. You're gonna beat them out. But then you concede, and both shall we bleed. You give in, and both the feelings and yourself both bleed. So Halo on Fire, you're a nice, warm, fuzzy citizen of the world that looks like an angel, but it's on fire because you're also a devil. This is kind of the dichotomy of the song that creates another hell, right? All the desire creates another hell, but then you want to turn on the light, but you're afraid the darkness won't go away. This is a really cool, grappling with your problems kind of song. There's a lot of weight to these lyrics. I think my favorite part comes over here. Too dark to sleep, can't slip away. Open or close, my eyes betray. Beyond the black, come won't you stay. So very, very deep. I don't know what it is. These words aren't super, big, high quality college words or anything, but listen to how much weight there is there. It's too dark to sleep. What do you mean it's too dark to sleep? Don't we normally sleep in the dark? You can't slip away when it's dark out? Oh, because open or close, my eyes are betraying me. That's because when I'm awake, I'm thinking about the terrible things in my life. And when I go to sleep, my dreams are also thinking about those things. And I'm looking for something beyond the black, right? Beyond the darkness that is in both literal darkness and light. Even turning on the light, if you're to turn on the light, it's still darkness. It won't go away. I don't know. I just love these lyrics. I think there's something really magnificent about them. I suppose you could argue that there is some bit of this inside here that doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense, I suppose, maybe? I think you have to dig a little bit to know what allure, sweetness, well, maybe not. I don't know. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to complain about, but it's missing that clear story. So it kind of depends. How are you feeling? Do you need a story, or do you want just kind of decorative language? And I think this is more of a decorative song. I'm going to put something in your ears just for the future. Whenever you see them live, I give you permission to say Halo on Fire, the Midnight Notion well, in case you feel like singing a little ode to your favorite Metallica reviewer. So I'm sure you can understand I'm in a pretty tight spot here because we have both songs tied at 2-2, and the winner of this round becomes the best Metallica song. I don't know what to do, so I need you to lean close and listen closely because I have some explaining to do, all right? We have 2 songs. One of them has Dream and one of them has Midnight, so both of them are appealing to me personally. We have one song about being blown to pieces and wishing for death, and we have another song about being so depressed and having so many problems in life that you're wishing for death. So very similar context as well. I don't know how to grade these because we also have a story versus a little bit more subtlety, right? I think Halo on Fire is a little bit more subtle, and one is a lot more straightforward. So really listen to what I'm saying here. We're talking about lyrics specifically. As far as lyrics are concerned, the winner of this song, of this round, goes to the song that is original context. That's right. One uses material from Johnny Got His Gun as its influence for the story, meaning it was a written story before that they just adapted to music, meaning the winner of this round is Halo on Fire. Oh God. And so here I am with the internet yelling in my face, how could you pick a new song over an old song? I hear you, I understand you, I love them both equally, that's why they were tied, but unfortunately with my 5 criteria, the winner just happens to be Halo on Fire. So go ahead in the comments below, tell me which one you think should have won, and be kind about it. Make sure you're extra kind about it, because I know a lot of people are going to be angry, but you have the right to have your own opinion. But just in my opinion, I guess the best Metallica song is Halo on Fire. I'm completely surprised. I did not expect this whatsoever. So whatever, here we are. And that's almost the end of this journey. We're not quite all the way done. I want to share my findings with you in a big Metallica awards ceremony where I tell you all of the stats that I found along the way. There's not a whole lot of them, so I'll try to keep it short and fun, but make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be here when that happens. Unfortunately, I am dealing with a bunch of major projects that are going to hold me back from releasing this tomorrow, but I promise I will put together something fun for you in the near future. I'm going to take a slight break, focus on my work, and I will be back with the Metallica Awards ceremony and plenty of more content in the future. Thank you so much for joining me on this. I love you all so much. I'm sorry if you're offended. Deal with it. You're awesome. Thanks for watching.